High Level is a full CRM and marketing platform, and I've used some of the best in the SaaS industry. And we are live on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, X, Twitch, and Instagram. I think I got it all. It's Revening's Wednesday. Welcome to Wednesday, Revenue Party people. We've got our hot topics and our hot guests, which we'll be getting into, and I'll be introducing you to them here in just a second. But before we do, I have a few quick notes per usual. But real briefly, I want to tell you about what we're working on here at Reveting. At Reveting, we are helping businesses go live on LinkedIn, and then we're helping them distribute that to podcasts as well with short form video. So, what we're doing on LinkedIn is basically gating those. When you go live on a company page on LinkedIn, you can gate it like we are here. And then everyone who registers, you get their email addresses. So then not only are we introducing them to guests every episode, then we are also handing them over CSVs of people who register for those events. So it's not just a LinkedIn Live, because it's like if the face of your brand is going to show up and they're going to be there for an hour, you might as well take that video and repurpose it to podcast, short form video, take the transcript, feed it to AI, start to learn their voice and build blogs and newsletters and things what they actually said. Dean LeBay, it's been too long. What's good? Awesome to see that there's 18 people here. We've got 11 on YouTube, one on Lisa's YouTube, who you'll meet here in just a second, one of our guests. We've got 3 on our X page and 2 on my personal YouTube. But welcome. That's not including everyone on LinkedIn. So if you're here, let us know you're here by leaving a comment. As usual, this whole show is about you. So let us know that you are here by let us know your opinion. When we say something that you disagree with, tell us in the comments. But start off by just telling us where you're tuning in from. I'm in Ohio. It's cold AF here. There's over a foot of snow on the ground. It was negative 18 the other day. Like, let's get into some hot topics because I'm cold just thinking about the weather. But, before we do, I have to tell you about Cherry Assistant. I couldn't do what I do without Cherry Assistant. So Cherry Assistant is a VA placement company, and they have placed VAs with Reveting so that we're able to not just go live on Wednesday, but there's also Deconstructing Data. You see me on. I'm a co-host. We help produce that show, as well as 8 other shows that we're helping right now. We're helping tech companies, finance companies, services companies, now a Pilates company, our first B2C client who has several Instagram channels. We're helping these businesses go live on social media, especially B2B on LinkedIn. That's really our sweet spot. And then we're repurposing it to podcast and short form video. And we've got Layla behind the scenes here who helps with Wednesday along with other shows. We've got video editors, but there might be something that you're working on and a VA somewhere around the world who could help you with it and take those tasks off of your plate so you can go focus on the business and not in the business. Liza, thank you so much for being here. Love that you're messaging. Hello, everyone. AP, oh my gosh, it's been too long. You're tuning in from Florida. Glad you're back in Florida. Everyone else, let us know where you're tuning in from. Let's create a party in the comments. We can't do that if we don't hear from you. So keep this coming. Let's go ahead and invite our guests onto the stage. Welcome, Erica and Lisa. So glad to have you here.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Well, in good old-fashioned Wednesday style, we want to learn your full life story and all the things because everyone should go search them on LinkedIn. Can we tag them on LinkedIn right now? So everyone just go follow them, connect with them, send them a DM. But in between the stuff we can find in your experience, fill that in a little bit and tell us your real story, from birth to what brought you to now, the real human self stuff. Can we start with you, Erica?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm super lucky to have grown up in Southern California, and grew up around sustainability being talked about. Lucky to have grown up around a lot of entrepreneurs and went to college in San Diego. While I was in San Diego, the pandemic happened and people started talking about and paying a lot of attention to where the everyday purchases they were making came from and what the funds were being used for. So I wear contact lenses. I've worn them since I was way younger. Middle school, I believe, is when I started wearing them. And they're an everyday purchase. People purchase over and over for sometimes their whole life. And I wanted to see if I could turn the profits from contact lens purchases into something that could help people in the planet. So I opened BPO, entered it in one of my college entrepreneurship competitions, and it got a little bit of traction, and here we are. So I now sell contact lenses online. We carry all the major brands on our website, and then $1 from every box sold over there goes to our partner nonprofit and helps fund an eye care treatment for somebody in need. And the sustainability piece, we'll take back the contact lens packaging from you and we'll get it upcycled into new plastic products. But I'm still here in SoCal pursuing Blue Planet and really happy to be here and getting to share my story a little bit more on Wednesday. But other than that, that's pretty much me.
Ah, that's so cool. It's so good to have you back on Wednesday. Thank you for being here and tuning in from warm SoCal. I am definitely a little bit jealous. But yeah, that's okay. We won't get into that. AAP says another undergrad student who was in college during the pandemic. Pulls up chair, fam, same.
Oh my
I can't
goodness.
relate, but man, I can't imagine either. Like y'all went through some crazy stuff. Let's get into that here in a moment, but keep the comments flowing. Where did everybody else go to college? I went to Western Illinois University. Anyone ever heard of it? I was actually elected to the board of trustees there. I love that place. Anyway, I digress. Lisa, could you please tell us your full life story from birth to what brought you to now?
From birth to what brought me to now. So first of all, I'm a military veteran. My father served, brought us from Germany to Buffalo. From Buffalo, I decided my parents divorced and I wasn't able to pay for college. So I then joined the army to pay for college. Spent my year in Iraq, spent my time doing a lot of things. And when I came home from the army, I realized there wasn't a lot for us to do. Went to Buffalo State College, which is in Buffalo, New York. And so I know what the cold is, but it brought me to sunny Texas, which is not real. It's a little gray out right now, but it is 70 degrees. So I can't complain. Long story short, I rambled a little bit. I didn't know what to do when I got out of the service. I had spent a lot of time marketing. I was a DJ. I was a lot of things. I wore a lot of hats, and I always circle back to marketing. And I opened my agency in 2018 and went full bore in 2021. And the whole idea was to give veterans a foundation when they got out of the service so that they knew what they could do and they knew that there was something more than the rank that they wore on their uniform. And there's a lot to be said in creating comfort and creating comfortability. And now we've kind of opened it up a little bit wider and focus on women and helping them market their businesses and helping them get the platform they need to succeed. But still, the veterans are always going to be near and dear and at the bottom of my heart. Oh, I forgot to talk about DeBell Designs. I was going to tell you. I got 38 seconds.
Tell me.
So in dealing with PTSD from serving in Iraq, I decided that I was going to play roller derby because I'd roller skated my whole life. And my roller derby name was DeBella DeBall. So the bell of the ball. It was a really good way of healing. And I wanted to honor that when I started my business. So I brought that with me. And that's why it's DeBella DeBall Designs. It's DeBella DeBall Coaching, DeBella DeBall Designs, and DeBella DeBall Marketing.
It's a little bit of a tongue twister, DeBella DeBall, but I do love it. It's beautiful.
Yes.
DeBella DeBall. But yeah, great to see comments out there. We've got Dean still, AP, Layla, I see you chiming in. Lisa, AP says, Lisa, good to have you here. Welcome. Yeah, he's a regular. He's in our Wednesday Winners WhatsApp group if anyone else wants to join. Let us know. We've got Layla. Thank you for sharing this so openly. Yeah, we do love when people are open here and they just share their real life story. And we've got DeBella DeBall Designs on YouTube here commenting as well. So everyone go subscribe to that channel. But let's get into our hot marketing and sales topics, mostly marketing, but it's going to be a good one. Our first one is purpose-led marketing, selling without greenwashing. So Erica, could you kick us off on this topic?
Definitely. It's something I've been thinking about a lot, especially this year, since I started BPO, but just learning to communicate it better, learning to communicate what we're about, because I started the company to turn an everyday purchase into an option for there to be a better option for you to purchase and give back at the same time. And greenwashing is a big thing that people think about when they first see a company that's trying to be sustainable in an industry that hasn't pursued it a ton yet, which I would say contact lenses hasn't really. And I think it's really important for companies to just be open about where they're at. People don't want to retroactively find out that you were overpromising. So for us, for instance, we have a little bit of a lack of control over where our upcycling program goes in a way, but we did that on purpose. So the plastic that comes from contact lens packaging is really high value and can be upcycled because the components are high value, and it's really clean plastic because it sits in saline and it is used for such a short time, which is what makes it viable. But that being said, we send it to our upcycling partners and they decide what they're going to do with it and what they're going to turn it into. So I know there's certain like activewear companies, for instance, that will take a water bottle and turn it into a pair of leggings, but we don't quite have that level of, we don't quite control that the upcycling program to that extent. So the plastic and what it's getting turned into is out of our control, but we did that on purpose because there's so many smarter people out there who could turn it into the best possible thing. Yeah, exactly. Progress over perfection. And we've changed our upcycling program. We've worked with different upcycling partners, not a ton, but right now we're meeting with TerraCycle to talk about if that could be a possibility of working with them. And we haven't finalized that, but if we do decide to make that transition, we'll be open about it on our social channels. And I think people just want transparency and they would much rather hear, we don't have this totally figured out, as opposed to we have it totally figured out and then coming back and being like, actually, we weren't completely telling the truth and we were over-promising on amounts and claims and things like that. So our program, for example, is in its infancy, and I try to be very open about that. But as the company continues to grow and as we upcycle more and more packaging, we'll be more open about what that looks like. And to answer your question about who's recycling their contact lenses, the actual lenses themselves, not many people. We don't have a program for that yet, but at BPO, it's free with your purchase. If you purchase your contact lenses from us, take your contact lens packaging, keep it in a box, send it back to us, and we'll take back the plastic and the foils and get them upcycled and sent to our upcycling partners to be separated and then turned into new products.
Upcycled, not recycled. I love that.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I appreciate the work that you're doing, Erica. Like just
Thank
because
you.
like sustainability is going to be hopefully a bigger issue as we see more younger people taking over
Yeah,
and creating businesses and getting creative, because it's also like it's sustainable, so it's great for the
yeah,
environment, but a lot of time it's great for the budget too, because when we can reuse,
exactly.
reuse, recycle.
Exactly. Yeah. And yeah, it's usually advantageous to a lot of parties, especially if it can be implemented in the beginning. I think it can be a scary kind of cost if it's something you're trying to retroactively add and you're like a huge company like Target, for instance, or something like that. But a lot of times, if you're starting with it initially, there's a lot of upside financially as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Curious, Lisa, what's your take on all this?
I love. I was watching the comments. So for me, what greenwashing actually is using purpose as a decoration instead
Yeah.
of direction, and you are totally using it as direction. It's not just
Thank
about
you.
sounding ethical. You're sitting in a place where the ethics are the heart of what you're doing, and that's really, really awesome.
Thank you.
I find that a lot of veterans are trying to do things like this, so I really like that you've got a system in place that you're working on, and you did it while you were in college. I did not have that kind of focus while I was in college. I will admit, on my honor. So I really just admire you for what you're doing and the fact that you're living your values and you're living your truth. You're not just touting it to sound cool.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And to give myself a little bit of not credit, but the opposite, I was stuck in my dorm. So what else was I going to do, right? But yeah, thank you for saying that. And thank you so much for your service and everything you've done. I'm excited to hear more about your story. And everyone is wondering what your DJ name is.
Oh, I was DJ Motor Mouth because I used to talk a mile a minute and I never stopped. Those of us that are old enough to
You say
remember,
DJ Motor Mouth?
Yes.
I love it.
I love that.
I had a lot of monikers, a lot of jobs, a lot of careers, a lot
it.
of different identities throughout the time.
Looks like we also have Lauren Friedman in the house. She says, love this episode, purpose, power, healing. And Jesse, love your shirt. Thank you. I'm selling it on TikTok. I'll be posting the link. But yeah, no, this is a really great topic. So next topic, building a clear path from content to sales. Okay, so we talk sales and marketing a lot on the show. The last one was really a lot about marketing. Let's transition that. Now, sales is hard for me, although I was on 2 sales calls yesterday, 1 sales call today. There's a lot of follow-up in B2B, but building a clear path from content to sales is something I think about a lot because we help businesses create content. And of course, they want to generate leads and business from that. But I'm hoping, Lisa, you can teach me something new. Can you kick us off on this topic?
I can for sure. A lot of the problem that people have is most content doesn't actually fail because it's bad content. It fails because it had no job. We all kind of have a job in what we do, and we don't really focus on building familiarity. They want to see you a lot because the more they see you, we've got all those views that people have to have before they connect with you. But then we also have, you've got to be clear. You have to be clear on what you're trying to offer so that they understand what the problem is you actually solve. And then invite them to make a decision by the conversation that you're having, not just jumping into it and be like, DM me for this. You just have to create a platform that's not direct, but is conversational. And the more conversational you make it, the more people connect to it. Actually, when content does all 3 of these, it kind of gives people a little bit more moving and shaking. So if you don't have familiarity, they don't trust you. You're not clear. They don't understand you. And if your decision you don't ask them for a decision, or they don't do anything, you're not supporting what they need to do next. So you get no results, no engagement, and 0 clients. It's kind of the similarity of the framework that we teach a lot of our people to do. I'm trying to look at the comment. Oh, I'm seeing the haze. I love it. I want to make sure I answer some though if they come up.
Oh, we'll definitely get to them.
Okay,
we
cool.
Just like awesome. Them to feel seen, because it's like AP's writing that. We want to show it right away, but if there's a good one, we can definitely get back to it. Because no, I love what you're saying. Mm-hmm. And they're sitting there celebrating. I saw that first comment was celebrating your the topic in general, just content to sales. But let's dig into some of these and let's look at them all together. So AP was like, ooh, how do you build a clear path from content to sales? Yes, let's definitely talk about that. I would say gate your live stream. Def need to answer.
That's something I never thought of. So I'm totally going to be doing that as the next few live streams I do. So that is a beautiful one.
Yes. Yeah. On LinkedIn for B2B, especially, I would say gate on your company page. But just go live in general. Like if you're B2C, look at TikTok and Instagram, whatever. AP's like, Def need to answer this question for KOTC. So KOTC is a company he's a founder of, and they, correct me if I'm wrong, AP, they help people prepare for the MCAT exam. So they're targeting college students. So that's like the exam they take to become a doctor. Okay. So yeah, he's trying. I know they do a lot on TikTok, but yeah, he's trying to answer the whole content to sales question too. Lauren's like, "Hey, Reveting, what's up, Lauren? What job to be done does content need to do?" Yes, AP, keep those questions coming. You're not struggling because you're bad at what you do. You're struggling because no one knows you exist. I agree.
Agreed.
I'm going to pass it back to you.
And a lot of that's because you're not clear on what you do, right? Like if you're just throwing content out to see what sticks, there's only so many pieces of spaghetti you can throw at your wall without really getting clear.
Amen. Yeah. No, you're right.
Mhm.
And it's really that simple too, is if you don't know your strategy, first of all, your message, your audience, who you're talking to, it's going to be really hard to emotionally appeal to them. And you're going to
Mhm.
be throwing a lot of spaghetti. But even once you know your audience, you still got to find the right tactic. Like, what platform are they on? Are they on Pinterest? Where do they frequent? And what time are they there?
And what are
And
they looking for while they're on that platform? They might be on Pinterest, but are they just pinning what they're gonna their next outfit?
Hmm.
Or are they on TikTok scrolling to see what the new dance move is? They're not necessarily looking for the business stuff while they're on there. So you can
I'm
talk
looking for the new
business
dance
on
move.
there and break their cycle, but that shouldn't be where you focus your attention.
That's exactly right. Yep. I think AP saying yes, correct. We've been in business going on 6 years. We're on TikTok and Instagram, and our content game needs help. Emma Lowe says, "Hi, Jesse. Hey, Emma. Thanks for being here." Emma is in the Women Wave Warriors. So, Emma, tell us more about yourself. What are you up to these days? Keep the questions flowing. We're talking about content to sales. I'm talking for B2B. Gate your live stream on LinkedIn, but then we're
Yeah.
talking about TikTok, other things. Lisa, what's your biggest like action item for people here?
The biggest action item is being natural, being raw, and being you. So if you're
Hmm.
trying to get people in to take an MCAT test, for example, and study for that, they're already nervous. They're already feeling all of the things that you got to feel. So your job is to put them at ease. You know they're nervous. You know what you got to do, and then you just have to have natural conversations. As soon as I know a lot of people are going to tout ads, and ads are great, but I don't use them because I don't want to spend the money on them. I'd rather take that and spoil my dogs. I don't know if you can see my dog bed in the back. So I would rather spend my money on spoiling my dogs and putting more money into my business than continually filling in the ads. I don't,
Mhm.
the veteran community is pretty tight. So I'm a little lucky there in a lot of situations. But AP, if you spend some time having natural conversations, it's a little bit of a longer nurture, but as soon as you can put them at ease, there is a point where it's an automatic yes. It's kind of like a yes effect. You just keep answering the questions in a way, in a pattern that creates comfort so that they can trust you, so that they can want to convert with you.
Yeah, that's great advice. What would you say to all this, Erica? And we did get another great question asking, and this is Layla on Reviting, being like, how do you balance being visible across multiple channels without spreading yourself too thin?
Yeah,
Repurposing.
yeah.
Repurposing.
I was gonna say the same. I like
Reduce,
post the
reuse,
same
recycle.
videos.
Yeah.
Yeah, across every channel. And I repeat my content a lot if it's repeatable, if it's not seasonal, because odds are, yeah, maybe a couple people will see it again. But if you already put so much time into one video and you can repurpose it for something else, like on my personal channel, I do a lot of routine videos, like my personal morning routine videos, but then I talk about BPO in them, and I'll use the same video a couple of times with a different voiceover or something like that, because it becomes a different video at that point and it's still interesting enough to get my point across. So definitely repurpose for your own energy's sake. Definitely.
Yes, that's a really great point. And I'd say that's really what we help people do, is because it's hard to get the face of your brand to show up on camera, first of all. And so
Yeah.
once we get them to show up on camera, we want to take that and do a lot with it. So we
Yeah.
make short form videos, we create it into podcasts, we want to turn it into a newsletter, we want to turn it into a blog. We want to take those quotes, those really juicy ones, and turn it into a press release. Like, yeah, reduce, reuse, recycle. And I think distribution will be a big part of marketing success in 2026. What do you both of you think?
Go ahead, Erica.
Yeah. Like, are you getting at maybe like not quantity over quality, but just basically as much as you can pump out about your message, just kind of getting it out there as many times as you can? Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so too. And obviously the algorithms are changing pretty constantly. Like, I know TikTok was just bought by a different company and the algorithm changed quite a bit and that kind of thing. And people are struggling with it. But yeah, so I think for even that purpose alone and other purposes, the volume approach is the best way to go. And I think, at least for our business, and I know it's different than a lot of people's because it is a consumer product, but a lot of times conversions come from just the keywords. And literally me and one of my student interns who helps me, we film ourselves every single week just putting in our contact lenses, and then we put just a really short thing over the B-roll and repurpose it a million times. Sometimes we post them 3 times a day, but it's just our mission or a sale that we have going or whatever it is, and it's a 5-second video. We might post it 20 times over the course of a couple of months, but it's one of our highest volume sale traffickers. And for instance, we had someone purchase an annual supply of lenses this week, which is basically our most valuable customer that we can get. And she told us that she found us by searching affordable contact lenses online on TikTok. And that's how she found us. And one of our videos came up because the keyword was in there. But it was a short form video. It took me 5 minutes to make the first one of just me putting in my contacts, which I do every day, and then putting short form on the screen a couple of times. And it got picked up towards the right audience, which obviously is a huge win I'm so grateful for. But the least effort video, repurposing it a million times, gave me the highest result, which is not typically what you would expect, but yay.
It worked. Yay. I love TikTok.
Yeah, me too.
My TikTok handle is just my name. If anyone's watching it on TikTok, would love to follow you. Who else here is on TikTok? If you're on TikTok, drop your handle in the comments so we can all go follow you. And Erica and as well as Lisa, what are your TikTok handles?
Oh, mine, everything. I'm DeBella everything. So if you see that, DeBella Designs, that's me.
I'm going to search it.
Awesome. And then, yeah, I'm Blue Planet Optics across all channels for small business. But then my personal is at Through Erica's Lens on every channel as well.
I love that. And we have more really amazing questions. So I know I've seen Marissa's name pop up. I think the first question she asked was, seems like less is more with topics on posts. What do you ladies think? And I would say yes, both on your messaging, like having 3 content pillars and sounding like a broken record in all your posts, like if you're doing marketing right. But then also each post kind of has like one theme. What do both of you think?
+1 to that. I'm definitely down. That's what I teach people to do. And that the whole reason is you might get bored with your content, but it might be the first time somebody sees you. So the more you talk about it, the more you do it, the more you see it, the more you get to love it, the more practice you make. Most of my videos on my TikTok are old, and I found that I could grow about. But like you're not going to get better if you don't practice it.
Right. I would say that, and also being as clear as possible with your storytelling and messaging is important. But if you're not being vague enough, but if there's room for questions too, that drives engagement. And people ask questions, you might not be thinking about it because you're in it every day. Like, for example, we'll post, for every box sold, we donate $1 to an eye care treatment for someone in need. And then we leave it at that. And then someone might comment, okay, but what eye care treatment? And then we can make another video talking about that specifically. So kind of letting people engage with your content and lead you to what they're wondering about versus answering it all up front as much as possible with still being clear.
It's the story arc. You got to make sure that's part of your story arc.
Exactly.
Story arc. I love that.
I love it.
Marissa was also asking, does the algorithm decrease visibility for you at all for repeating your posts? Like, I wouldn't say the same exact thing over and over again.
I was going to say it can if you just say the same thing in your verbiage. The caption's just as important as the video itself.
Yeah. I don't know. And I think it doesn't necessarily, like, it might a little bit, but as long as it's getting to the right places, that's okay. And then I think if any of us had it all the way figured out, the algorithm, we'd probably just be posting one video a day and like always have traffic. So I think, like balancing, seeing what sticks, and then what Lisa was talking about, your story arc and everything. So probably a little bit, but not to the extent that it's worrisome,
Totally. Good question. Great question. So Dean was asking, how important do you consider storytelling in your messaging?
It's the essential piece. If you don't have that down, people don't know what you got. They don't know where you're going, and they're lost, so they leave.
Yeah.
What do you say, Erica?
I would say the same. I would say it took me a little bit to figure it out exactly how to come across for us specifically, because we're trying to say you're buying it anyway, but do it with us and it's better. So kind of figuring out the storytelling piece took me a really long time, still learning. I think in a year from now, have it figured out so much more. But I would say that's the key, especially if you're a small business, which I assume that you're probably running a small business, Dean, or trying to get the word out there for why you're different, why people should choose you, why you'll care more. That storytelling piece is huge, and why someone might choose you over your competitor, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great points. AP's like, all good questions. Keep the questions coming. Those are great. Thank you, Marissa, Dean, AP, anyone else who's watching. Like, let us know what you're thinking, because we have 2 more really great topics. We're going to be hopping into building a conscious brand in a commodity market and turning sounds great into yes. So 2 really great topics that we're going to get into right after this brief message.
This is Mike, also known as Clean with Mike on Twitter. Mike hired a virtual assistant from Cherry Assistant about 2 years ago. Now he has a $50K per month business fully managed by a remote operator in South Africa. His VA from South Africa does the following: closing inbound leads on the phone, Yelp and Google and Facebook, manages his CRM on Go High Level, deals with rescheduling, cancellations, any issues, hires and manages the cleaners, and sends them daily reports and updates. Mike has a fully cash flowing business managed by a remote operator for only $8 an hour. You can also hire a US equivalent worker in the Philippines, South Africa, Latin America for a fraction of the cost with Cherry Assistant. Be like Mike and grow your business with offshore staff.
Yes, be like Mike. Right now, if you're listening on audio only podcasts, we're showing a menu of services that they offer, including but not limited to lead generation, CRM management, prospecting assistance, sales presentation preparation, data entry and cleanup, customer support, and project management assistance. They do so much more. Of course, you know, I work with them and they help me produce live streams and podcasts and short form videos. So there's probably bookkeeping or something else that you're looking for. Just reach out to Cherry Assistant. And if you do, go to cherryassistant.com. And then you're going to want to let them know that you heard about them through Wednesday to get $250 off. I might be hearing some wind. Anyone else hearing us? Let us know in the comments. Are you hearing anything? So Marissa's like, so how do you switch up the messaging and not look the same every day? It's a great question. I think you got to use video. You got to use pictures. You got to use carousels. You got to use all the things and like live stream, all the features that whatever platform you have offers. You've got to use all of those, but continue talking about your 3 content pillars. I digress. What do the rest of you think about that?
I commented, so that I think you can do a lot of that. The video is a best way to do it. Change up your verbiage, change up the pacing of how you're talking, change up kind of what you're saying a little bit. The biggest one's the hook. Remember, for most of them, your content's new to them, or they haven't quite registered who you are. They might have seen you 10 times, but they haven't totally figured out what it is you have to offer. So you're going to speak to them at that place and at that level.
Yeah, definitely. What's your take on this, Erica?
Yeah, I think it's hard not to look the same every day, but I wouldn't be afraid of looking the same a lot of the time, like repeating, using things for your own energy. Like Lisa was saying, they're probably not going to see all your posts, right? So even thinking about if that person was to see 1 out of 10 of your posts, it's not going to feel repeated. And even if someone's going to your account and looking through all of your stuff and they see a few similar things over and over, it's differentiated enough where they're putting the pieces together of what you're about as they're going through and kind of putting it all together. So I wouldn't worry about it too much, because you only have so much energy, and what you're building is the next great thing. So who doesn't want to hear about it a few times?
Yeah, totally. 100%. What do you all think in the comments? Let us know. We want to know what you think. And in the meantime, we're going to get into our 3rd topic, which is building a conscious brand in a commodity market. Erica, can you tell us all about this?
Yes, I would love to. So this is something that I'm in kind of like the beta phase of, I would say. So recently, Blue Planet this year, we launched an affiliate marketing program. And so we're working really closely with optometrists, optometry students who are growing their social media following. And at first, me and my intern came up with the idea over the summer of last year, and we were like, I don't know how this is going to work. You know, optometrists sell contact lenses in their clinics, but a lot of them have an online following as well, and it could be an additional source of revenue for them, and also the chance to share about a brand that they care about, a conscious brand that they want to support for their followers that aren't coming to see them in person. So we started reaching out to people, kind of testing the program, you know, being open with the influencers and saying, hey, we're just starting this. Do you have any questions? How can we answer them? That kind of thing. And so now we're offering 20% off, a discount code, and the opportunity for these optometry students and optometrists to share about BPO on their own channels and make a little bit of commission. And it's been such a learning lesson for me to see how I can reach a trusted audience, and kind of the questions I never would have thought of pop up from people who have a lot more knowledge specifically about optometry and those kind of things, and people asking about our brand from that. What do you mean by a conscious brand? Yeah, I think just the idea that we're selling contact lenses like some of the huge companies that do as well. Like Walmart sells contact lenses, for instance, but if you buy them from our company, we'll donate to an eye care treatment for someone in need and upcycle your packaging. So we're trying to be the buy the same thing but better kind of brand. So that's what I mean when I say a conscious brand. But yeah, it's been really exciting. I think BPO, it's a little bit difficult to get people excited about contact lenses, to be honest. They're not the flashiest product, which I totally get. Before I started this brand, I never thought about them until I had to buy them or if I was having an issue with them. So I'm not necessarily in the business to get people super pumped about contacts, but I am trying to get people excited about the prospect of, oh, I have to buy this anyway. I'd rather feel a little bit better about it and where my money is going. So being able to reach affiliates in an industry, reach their trusted audience, and benefit them along the way has been really exciting, and also has helped us reach new audiences, open us up to new questions, dial in our communication as a brand better. And I've learned so much in the process.
I love it. I mean, I love that it's such a niche audience. It's such a niche market. But, you know, and I love the topic that you bring on, that you like the way it's phrased, building a conscious brand in a commodity market, because it is a commodity market, and you're upscaling it, you're leveling it up, you're making it more luxurious by making us feel a little better about our decisions.
Exactly. I think, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. But a brand like Bombas is really inspiring to me, or there's that toilet paper brand, I'm totally blanking on them. Something like what the crap or something like that. But they literally sell toilet paper, and then I believe they donate toilet paper, or there's a flip side. Bombas, I know, for instance, for sure, they donate a pair of socks to a person experiencing homelessness for every pair sold, I believe, is their market, or for every sale, something like that. But just the idea that you're going to buy socks, you're going to buy toilet paper, you're going to buy contacts, but what if you could feel a little bit better about it? And, you know, I started this business from my college apartment, and the idea that an optometry student is trying to get the word out about what they're doing, and they care so much about eye care and all that kind of stuff, and the people following along with their journey could hear about our brand along the way, and I get to support the students and support their content as well. It's been really, really fun.
I love that. What's your take on all this, Lisa?
I think it's amazing that you're like conscious but not vague about it. You're really precise about what you do. And so many times when people are thinking about affiliates and thinking about all those things, they're worried about the aesthetics of it all, and like they're not hitting people where they are. It goes back to the storytelling, right? You're differentiating based on the value you're offering, not on your personality, which is huge. Huge is memorable. I've not actually dealt with anybody that has to think about those things. When I worked in my nonprofit, it was roller derby. We were our own network. We were our own community. So we were a conscious brand of sorts, and it was about women empowerment, but it really wasn't, it's not a commodities-based market. So it wasn't same kind of feel. It was just about creating a safe place for women to come and create a unique. If they couldn't have the confidence, they could borrow someone else's till they could get the confidence to do what they needed to do within the sport. And then that kind of trickled into their lives. So this is amazing. I never even thought about this kind of a world and how to market for that and how to be part of it.
I love
Gotcha.
that. I am definitely going to keep that phrase in my mind. I feel like that's such a way to phrase being a woman in general, just saying like, if you don't have the confidence right now, borrow someone else's, or I'll lend it to you. You can lean on me for that. I really love the way you said that.
Yeah, that was really amazing.
I learned it a long time ago. I mean, I got a whole bunch of the old hacks. I'm a little bit older than Jesse. Actually quite a bit older, being Gen X and all. But you know, there's a lot of things that we got to do, and oftentimes women in a space, we don't necessarily have someone that can back us, but you can borrow each other's power and borrow each other's confidence to get through whatever it is that you need to get through.
Absolutely. I think it's important that we just defy the stereotypes. The stereotype is that, you know, we don't get along, we're not connected, you know, and yeah, that's not what it's about. Actually, there's a lot of warmth, like in the Women Wave community. It's a WhatsApp chat if anyone listening wants to join. We support each other. We support each other's wins. People share their services in there. It's great to have a space where, I don't know, it's safe. Like other entrepreneurs who are out there trying their best, other sellers. Selling is a really hard industry to be in. Same with marketing. But yeah, it's just a safe space for women, whether they're running their own business or they're working for someone else, to promote themselves and to celebrate themselves. And we get together once a year. So I'm so glad that you joined, Lisa. Thank you. We need
I'm
more
excited to be part of it, so I get to meet more people. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's move into our final topic, which is turning sounds great into yes. Can you teach us about that, Lisa?
Yes. I want to tag on a little bit. I had a phrase that I thought of earlier when I saw everything. It says, your brand becomes conscious when people trust you, you reduce complexity, and you don't add to the complexity, right? We've all got so much going on, and that's going to help you with your sounds great and going to the yes. If somebody says sounds great, it's not really rejection. It's kind of a lack of readiness, but it's because you haven't expressed what they need to hear in order to get them to trip over into that yes. It goes back to that yes effect I talked a little bit about on our content mapping, getting somebody to get there, right? So again, they got to be familiar with their clear, and then you got to know the decision support part. What's the framework? Are you heading into a sales conversation in the right mindset? Are you talking to them? Are you hitting the nose before they get there? Are you pre-qualifying them? What I found for a long time is I pre-qualified somebody before I got on the sales call. I often was like, oh, I have to convince them. I don't think they've got the money. How do I get them to do what they can do? It's not your job to decide whether they're going to close or not. It's not your job to decide if they've got the money to do it, because a lot of times we have reserve, right? So it's just about building a bridge to get them to your yes. So all you're going to do is lay out what you have to offer, lay out why you're different, lay out why you're special, lay out the pieces that you can offer them, and then you leave it there on the table for them to pick up. If they're not, most of the time, if you've laid it the right way, you're putting yourself in a position where they're going to ask you detailed questions, and those detailed questions are really where their no's are sitting. And those are really pretty easy to overcome when they've come to you with the table. But the sounds great means you didn't do your job. You didn't give them all the information. What we need them to say is, now you need to come over the objections a little bit. We all know the objection. Everybody talks about the objection things, but on your sales calls, you need to come confident. You need to come with your best game. You need to talk about the things that you're going to talk about. Have a plan. Have a map to get to there. you know your common no's, you know your common things, and you can just first of all, you should be talking about them in your content. So when they hear it from you on a sales call, it's pretty easy for them to close.
100%. Yeah, I try to well, first of all, like consider my tonality. So talking a little slower, not like quick, but also being like questions based, asking people to tell me what it is that they want from this. Like, what is your vision? And then asking them, like, what's going to happen if you do nothing? And kind of building that emotion a little bit to be like, okay, well, here's what you want, and here's what's going to happen if you don't do anything. So, like, why aren't we going to get started now? I'm really curious, like, what's both of your take? Like, how do you do your tonality, and like, what do you do in your sales calls?
You can go, Erica.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think I maybe don't have the best advice just because most of my sales, like if I'm trying to close somebody, they're coming to me with their express interest because it's mostly just customer service at that point, or people reaching out and saying, hey, I want to buy contacts, but I've never ordered them online. What do I do? So, yeah, just trying to, the tonality I'm always taking is, friendly, helpful, wanting them to feel, that if BPO is where they should get their contacts, that offering just basically all that we can, helping them upload their prescription because it can be a little tricky, all that kind of stuff. But otherwise, yeah, I think just genuineness as much as possible coming across when I've been on the other side of sales calls. Like if I want to work with somebody for BPO or whatever it is, just knowing kind of that they, of course, it's an exchange of resources too, but just kind of knowing that they will have my best interest at heart, be open with me about how we could tweak things. That kind of thing is super important to me for my personal, if I were to decide to close or not close with the service, most likely.
Yeah, nice. What would you say on all that, Lisa?
So I had a coach one time tell me, I'm going to cuss for a second. You got to give a shit before you pitch.
Yeah.
So I that's why I said I love how you phrased what you had talked about, because I think if you slow down and you make sure you're listening to what they have to say, they feel heard. And the most important thing for any consumer is to feel heard.
100%.
Yeah,
That's exactly right. You want to make sure too that I put in the comments, you really have to give AF about them. You actually do. And you have to make sure that they know you do, that you're not like just some fake salesperson, because people see right through that these days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you actually did your research on them. You're not wasting their time.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's kind of a dead giveaway sometimes. So I got an email today. Someone was like, can we showcase your golf product at whatever? And I was like, it probably just got picked up by AI or something like that. But I was like, no, I can't work with this service if I know that they don't even know what I'm doing, that kind of thing. So just feeling that genuineness, feeling like they would do the effort for you and that kind of thing. I think you can pick up on certain things really quickly, but if you're in it for your best interest and their best interest at the same time, it comes across and people see like the humanness behind everything for the most part.
100%. Yeah. This is a really great topic. I want to know what everyone in the comments thinks and how you get things from sounds great to yes. Yes, let me give you my credit card over the phone. How do you get them to that? But no, this has been a really great topic. Can you wrap us up on this topic, Lisa?
Yes. So I had, I invest in coaches because I think if I invest in coaches, I'm able to perform better for my clients. But one of the coaches said in their conversation, when they're hemming and hawing and they're sitting on the sounds great, a lot of times you can say, and it can be high pressure for some people, if you don't close today and you work on this on your own, where are you going to be in 6 months? If I can help you get to where you want to be, how much value would that bring to you? And if you can say that in a way that's genuine to you, that was kind of quoting what they said. I found some variations on it that depend on the client that I'm talking to or the person I'm talking to. And I think it has a lot of value because sometimes they're so busy thinking about a number or a thing that you have to trigger the thought process of getting them to that next step. And if you've done the content and you've done all the pieces and you've nurtured them and you've listened to them and you've talked to them and you know what kind of contacts that they wear and why they should buy from you, you can convert that and you can talk to them about that. And to go to the people that are taking the MCAT, like they need somebody. If they're studying on their own, you know, what are the results they're going to get? How are they going to get there? Are they going to be able to take that test confidently studying on their own, or do they need some guidance in that?
Yeah, great point. Are you still here listening to this, AP? Because she's talking about your business. But no, this has been a really great topic. And that wraps up our 4 topics, actually. So we need to make sure that we still get into the guru of the week. Ooh, ooh. Excuse me. Let me try that again. The guru of the week. All right. So, like I said, I'm going to pull out of the screen here. Can you both tell us why we should go follow these people?
Do you want to go first, Lisa?
You can go ahead, Natalie.
Oh,
or
sweet.
Natalie. I'm saying Natalie because I'm seeing her name.
Yeah, Natalia's a friend of mine. She just started a brand, a nightgown brand of organic cotton, all that kind of thing. But her social media is all about building a transparent brand, how to communicate with your audience, basically showcasing behind the scenes. And I've learned a lot from her content. I know a lot of people have, and I really enjoy following her. So I definitely would recommend. I know she doesn't post as much on LinkedIn. She's more on Instagram, TikTok, those kind of things. But I'm learning a lot, and I'm so glad that she's been sharing her journey of building her brand.
And I have Nora. Nora's pretty amazing. There's a lot of things that when I was redesigning some things that I was doing, I kind of gravitated to her content. I have a lot of them that I could do, and she was the one I chose for this time. She has got some phenomenal things as far as some of her audio out there, some of her videos, her how-tos, all the way down to how she coaches people. She's just got a lot of good information. Her best channel is her LinkedIn channel. Her Instagram's okay, but it's like there's some people that are fantastic at Instagram. She's better at her LinkedIn, but amazing content, and she is very personal, very conversational, and she'll help you with whatever you need.
Nice. I love that. Thank you both for sharing about Natalia and Nora, because I mean, we just spent all this time getting inspired by you, so it's interesting to know who inspires you. And before we wrap up, would just love to know more about each of you. And could you both just tell us a little bit more about who you are, who it actually is that you serve, how you serve them, and if they could be served by you, how do they reach you? Could you kick us off, Erica?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're a contact lens wearer and you purchase them online or want to purchase them online, come find us at Blue Planet Optics. We carry all the major brands, and yeah, we'd love to see you over there. And every purchase you make gives back to people and the planet, so you can feel really good about your purchase over there. And otherwise, I'm showcasing trying to build a company in a niche industry over on my channels through Erica's Lens. So feel free to follow along over there and learn while I learn at the same time.
Amazing. And how about you, Lisa? Tell us more about you and what you do, who you serve, how you serve them, and if they could be served by you, how do they reach you?
I love this. I am Lisa Benson. Obviously, we've talked about that. I help women and veterans who are starting their businesses. They haven't hit their first 100K. I help them get to their first 10K. The goal is most of them hit it within 90 days, 10K months, then lead to 100K years. And the whole idea is that we get them from starting their LLC, starting their bank account, to where we can connect them with Rev so that they can actually learn how to do their repurposing, reposting, and doing live video. Live video isn't my thing, so I'm learning as I go. So you're going to see some boring videos from me soon if you're watching any of my channels, but they'll get better as we go.
They'll get better as you go. I love that. Well, thank you so much for sharing. I would have needed to known someone when I got started. It would have been a lot. I'm with you. I like to work with coaches. I think it's nice to have someone safe to bounce ideas off of, who knows what works for other people. So yeah, I think that's awesome. And if anyone's listening who needs a coach, wants to start a business, maybe reach out to Lisa. But yeah, no, this has been a really great episode. Thank you both for coming on. Next week, we've got another really great episode planned. We've got Matt Slaymaker and Mohammed Yusuf coming on the show. So that's going to be another great episode here on February 11th. So we'll be back here. But until then, thanks again, Erica and Lisa, for coming on. It was really great meeting you. And I'll see you backstage after we exit with the outro video. All right. Bye, everyone.